Once upon a time, there was a tiny seed named Sammy. Sammy lived in a cozy little spot on the forest floor, surrounded by tall trees and colorful flowers. Sammy dreamed of growing into a big and strong oak tree, just like the ones that provided shade to the forest. One sunny day, Mother Nature came to visit Sammy. She gently picked up Sammy and placed him in a small hole in the ground. Don't worry, Sammy, she said. With some water, sunlight, and lots of love, you will grow into a magnificent oak tree. Sammy waited patiently for the rain to come, and when it did, he felt the water soak into the soil, giving him the nourishment he needed. The sun also shone brightly, warming Sammy and helping him grow. Day by day, Sammy's roots grew deeper into the ground, and his tiny stem started to sprout leaves. As the seasons passed, Sammy grew taller and taller. His branches stretched out wide, providing shade to the forest animals on hot summer days. Squirrels would scramble up and down his trunk, and birds would build their nests in his branches. Sammy was happy to be a home for all the creatures of the forest. And so, Sammy the Seed's big journey came to an end. From a tiny seed to a mighty oak tree, Sammy had fulfilled his dream. He stood tall and proud, grateful for the love and care he received from Mother Nature. Sammy's shade brought comfort to the forest, and his presence brought joy to all who saw. Hi everyone. As educators, we are often faced with some challenges as it relates to finding the right resources to teach our lessons. However, today I would like to engage us in a discussion of how we can use an interdisciplinary approach in our teaching. Storytelling is an amazing way of transferring knowledge of past generations and past cultures to those that are here today and those little minds that we are here to educate and to help develop. However, as I mentioned, sometimes resources are often hard to find and it can pose challenges to teaching. However, there is a way out. What is interdisciplinary? What does it mean? And how can it be used in our education system? Interdisciplinary approach means combining ideas, methods, and knowledge from different subject areas and understanding a topic better. Instead of looking at just one subject like math or science or even social studies, you may want to use ideas from both so that you can learn something new. In other words, you're integrating ideas from one resource, which in this case is a story, to get ideas or teach concepts based on a variety of other subject areas. For example, let's say you're studying the environment. You might use science to learn about the ecosystem and how it works, and then you may use math to analyze the data about how pollution impacts the environment. And by combining those two subjects, you'll be able to get a deeper understanding of how humans impact the environment and what harm and danger there can exist if these actions are severe, as well as maybe how we can protect it. In simple terms, it's like mixing different ingredients to make a new and more interesting recipe. The recipe in this case are the subjects that we have to teach and to add flavor to our teaching. As you are aware, a story has different elements, from the setting to the plot to the conflict, as well as there are other elements such as foreshadowing, the tone, and the theme. Now, these elements can be taken into consideration when you are designing your lesson plans. Today, our task is to look at the story, Sammy the Seed's Big Journey, and see how we can incorporate, integrate, and teach a science lesson to grade 4 children. As you are aware, a story has different elements. Some of those elements are the setting, the plot, conflict, theme, and foreshadowing, just to name a few. Our task today is to look at the story titled Sammy the Seed's Big Journey and see how we can integrate science concepts taken from our story and teach these concepts. It is important to note that in this plan that we have to teach science using a story, there will be a series of lessons. In fact, there would be 5 lessons that we would be teaching, taken concepts from this story, so as to really and truly get the understanding of what the story is trying to tell us. Our first element of the story that we'll be looking at is the setting. The story Sammy the Seed's Big Journey by Chadrak Ashsad introduces the main character, Sammy the Seed, in an environment on the forest floor, surrounded by tall trees and colorful flowers, providing imagery and context for the setting. This also creates an emotional connection between the reader and Mother Nature. Sammy's desire to grow into a magnificent oak tree is also created, and this sets the primary focus of the story. Now, you may be asking yourself, how can I, as a teacher, use the setting of this story to teach a science concept? Think about it. The setting provided in the story provides an opportunity for educators to explore different habitats and ecosystems of both plants and animals. By making reference to Sammy on the forest floor, teachers could use the idea of trees being home for animals, as well as under the ground being home for animals. It can also introduce the concept of ecosystem and the interdependence of each other, both animals and trees, within a habitat. You could take them on a nature walk, observe different plants and animals in their natural space, and discuss how they integrate with each other. Imagine a world where only humans are in existence and no animals. Would that be such a good thing? The second concept that we could use from our story, Sammy the Big Seed's Journey, is from its plot. We know that the plot refers to the sequence of events unfold and drive the narrative forward. It encompasses the beginning, the middle, and the end, outlining the series of actions as well as the conflict and the resolution that occur. Now, in the story Sammy the Big Seed's Journey, the plot of the story follows Sammy's journey from being a tiny seed to growing into a mighty oak tree. It includes its initial desire to become like the tall tree in the forest, his planting by Mother Nature, his growth with the help of sunlight and water, and finally his fulfillment of providing shade and shelter to the forest creatures. Now, as educators, how can we use this into our science lesson? The plot of Sammy's journey can be used to teach children about the life cycle of a plant. We know that some plants start from a seed and they would grow with the help of sunlight, water. They would grow into a little plant and they would increase with the right conditions. So using this as a backdrop, we're able to now teach the life cycle of plants. We can also teach the process of germination, which we know is the development of a seed into a shoot, with the conditions, of course, being provided for this to happen. This can be a hands-on activity that teachers provide for children, in that the children would bring their seed, a bean seed in this case, to the classroom and observe it as the time goes by. This would be making a direct connection to Sammy in the story and his journey of growing from a little tiny seed into a large oak tree. Another concept that can be taken from the story is the element of the conflict. The primary conflict in the story, Sammy the Seed's Big Journey, is its desire to grow into a big and strong oak tree. This conflict is resolved by Sammy receiving the necessary care and nourishment from Mother Nature and allowing him to grow and fulfill his dream. Do you see a connection that can be made to your classroom science lesson? In my class, I would use this as a backdrop to teach caring for the plant. Imagine a plant that is not provided with sunlight nor water. Would they be able to grow? Hardly. But one that is provided with sunlight, water, and the necessary conditions to germinate would do so very rapidly, right? The conflict of the story, we could discuss the needs of plants. We know that plants have needs just as humans would have needs, and the nutrients that they need to be provided with. We can also talk about how plants need to adapt to their surrounding and also how they need help to start their life's journey. This story presents an interesting theme of growth, perseverance, interconnectedness, and the beauty of nature. These are all woven into this story, reinforcing our overarching message of harmony, natural world, and the reward of resilience and patience. We know that Sammy had to wait in the forest while Mother Nature came to him. Teaching children values such as patience, understanding, and resilience are all qualities that we need as individuals. Therefore, these themes of perseverance, interconnectedness, and so forth can be used to teach children about the environmental sciences and conservation. Discuss the importance of taking care of our planet, preserving natural habitats, and protecting biodiversity. Engage children in discussions and activities. Provide the opportunities, in fact, for them to be able to recycle, to garden, to have practical examples of how they can take care of the plants. Because we all know that we depend on the plants as much as they depend on us. It is important for children to understand this connection and the interconnectedness of our world, because it is one that is unique and special. This theme is brought out very nicely and vividly in the story Sammy the Seed's Big Journey. Fellow colleagues, another element of the story that can be brought out of foreshadowing, or the element used from the story, foreshadowing. What is foreshadowing? Foreshadowing is a literary technique used by authors to hint or to suggest events that will happen later in the story. It involves giving hints, clues, or indications early in the story so that it would lead, or you as a reader or a listener to a story would anticipate what happens next. Now, keep in mind the integration of this foreshadowing element into our science lesson. For story, foreshadowing can be seen in Mother Nature's reassurance to Sammy when she plants him in the ground, promising him to care for him and to provide him with water and care and love, and eventually, hopefully, he would grow into a magnificent oak tree. This foreshadows Sammy's eventual growth and the fulfillment of his dream, and hope that Sammy's dreams do come true. Foreshadowing in this story can be used to introduce children to the concept of cause and effect in science. Discuss how certain actions Think of deforestation, cutting down of all those trees. If individuals do that, then the oxygen that we so much depend on would be limited, and that it would be an effect of our action. However, if we care for plants, provide them with the necessary needs or nutrients that they need, then we would have forests and plants so rich and abundant in our oxygen level, and the habitats of those plants and other animals would be there. So, in science, we can show the connection of caring for plants and providing for plants with the needs that they have. Encourage kids to play or participate in tree planting activities in their communities and schoolyard. These are essential for restoring habitats and mitigating the effects of deforestation. This concept can be brought out from foreshadowing in the story Sammy the Seed's Big Journey. Fellow colleagues, it is my hope that this little recording has brought some sort of idea and influence on how we as educators can use stories to integrate into our daily teaching schedules. Not only could this story be integrated into science, but it can also be used for mathematics, social studies, and even language arts components.